Giants were 3 weeks ago. I mean, think, right? Was there a more miserable franchise in the entire sport? And all of a sudden, I got to give credit to Rex Ryan. He was screaming and yelling, put the young guys out there because they will bring energy. And look at that moment.
The young guys are a lot of work for a coaching staff, but they're also, it's an unbelievably rewarding work when you feel it's starting to come together. And I think, coaches that we saw Matt LaFleur go through it with the Packers a couple of years ago when they're breaking in Jordan Love. By the end of that year, he's got the same kind of energy that those young guys are giving. So look, ways to go. Look, they lose to the Saints last week. They have a really tough schedule. There will be ups and downs, as there always are with young players. But at least there's some ups.
Right.
And the Giants haven't had a lot of ups over the last decade
or something like that. So Orlovsky, again, the opposite side of it. We talked about the Eagles side of it. What's your number one takeaway from last night from a Giants side of it?
Man, there's hope. For the first time in a long time, there's hope. When I watched Jackson Dart last night, I feel like I'm watching a combination of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield. There's just playmaking. There's a reality where maybe sometimes I don't know what I'm looking at, as a football player. Like, hey, Nick doesn't necessarily do the right thing all the time. But this dude's a playmaker. This dude is a football player in the biggest moments. He makes plays with his feet. He has great pocket feel. I'll go back to the springtime. That was my favorite thing about him, was great pocket feel. He was strong in the pocket. And the reason I say Josh and Lamar is, like, early on in their careers, there was just that run around and that bull in a china shop, that tough physical runner, that I'll find a way mentality. And it wasn't as pretty, certainly, as it is now. And then the reason I say Baker is, like, there's just this grittiness, this toughness, this fearlessness of, I'm going to go figure out a way with the ball in my hand to go make plays. And he's got to take less hits, and there's going to have to be growth in his game. This throw is fantastic. These next two stretch throws, that ball to Wandale and the ball to Theo Johnson, when he just gets hit. This is exactly why I love them coming out of school. That's real. That's real life in the NFL. The Giants, there's no doubt this is their future.
And look, we talked about it, but for those of you who didn't follow the day yesterday and the night last night, he's throwing to Wandale Robinson and Lil Jordan Humphrey and Theo Johnson. They're playing without not only Malik Neighbors. They went into that game last night. We were thinking he's got no one to throw the ball to.
Well, number one, it's the energy. It's infectious amongst this entire football team. And I believe it's leaked over to the defense as well. But little Jordan Humphrey last night wasn't so little. He was big Jordan Humphrey. The quarterback understanding the size advantage, just give my wide receiver an opportunity and a chance to make that play. That was on 3rd and 12. One-on-one versus Keely Ringo. You find the fish, you continue to go fishing. Hitch route, I think it was like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. First down, Giants.
They have chemistry because he's been throwing to him all summer, right? Little Jordan Humphrey's one of the backups, and so was Jackson Dart, all through training camp. So was Cam Scatterboot. So this is a group that has practiced together an awful lot, and I think you're seeing some of that too.
Listening to Dan, he just said with Jackson Dart, he mentioned the name Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. If you're a Giants fan, you woke up excited about the game last night, then you listen to my guy Dan O, and you're just like, I'm booking my Super Bowl tickets for the next 3 years. But to his point, when you watch Dart, you see some similarities of all of these guys. It's almost like you're watching a maniac out there playing the quarterback position.
No, he's not saying, again, I'll stop the internet. He's not saying he's as good as those guys.
Absolutely.
You're looking for traits. This is the kid's third start of his career. But when the stuff that we scouted, you scouted, Dan, and I just, made notes on that everyone's scouting, the stuff you saw coming out of college from him, you are seeing it play out here, and he's a long way from being a finished product, to your point.
There's no question. That's kind of during the spring, I was like, he's a top 10 pick. He's a top 10 pick. The Saints, the Raiders, somebody has to take him. I think what you saw in college was a kid that was ultra competitive in the pocket, had unbelievable ability to throw the football down the field because he was challenged to do so. And then there is that unique athleticism that it's maybe not off the charts, like jaw-dropping, but it's just athletic instinct. And I'll go back to being in the pocket. He's so strong in the pocket. And that's what, like, game-wise, reminds me so much of Josh Allen. It's not just Brian Dable and his past. In the pocket, he's so strong. And guys, think about what he's done for this football team. Just by the way that he not only plays, but if you just watch him approach the play, approach the line of scrimmage, there's an expectation that exudes of him, and we've heard it all summer of like, I'm gonna go make a play. I'm gonna go find something good that happens. So you have that, right? And then you're sprinkling it in with some really big time throws. This isn't just run around football. There's some real big time throws happening. And if you're a Giants fan right now, you're going, hold on. We're doing this without Malik Neighbors, and we're doing this with a little bit of a banged up offensive line. If we can just kind of stay afloat this year and remain competitive, win some games, Brian Dable and Joe Shannon are coming back. And then next year, you're sitting there going, we absolutely can contend in that division and be what Washington is right now.
Feels like the beginning of something. Now I feel almost bad about this because Dan is good enough to get up early. He's not supposed to be working today. Get up and do the show.
At times there's, some negativity that's surrounding here. And, for us, like, some of the new guys that are coming here, like, we just got here. So, we don't feel like we were involved in the past. And we got a lot of winners on this team and guys who come out every single day and work their ass off to put on a good showing on Sundays. And, we do feel like we're a really good team. We have really good players.
Exactly what you want to hear him say. That was a 9-game losing streak against Super Bowl champs that they snapped last time they beat a Super Bowl champ, where they were John Elway's Broncos. In fact, they weren't John Elway's Broncos anymore. It's a whole other story.
They were undefeated.
They were undefeated at the time the Giants beat them. That's like right. It was after their first one. So here's, at the risk of an overstatement, I'm going to assess this to John Fink, our coordinating producer, who's a Giant fan, who said to me, Greeny, I am reborn, rejuvenated, I feel alive.
Wow.
Should the New York Giants fans be reacting like Fink to last night's game?
Yes, because what have you had to react like this to? Like in the stats they were throwing out last night, first time in 5 years they scored more than 7 points in the first quarter. I mean, this is a team that has been very bad for a very long time. 14 years since they won the Super Bowl. That's a significant chunk of Jackson Dart's life.
That's right.
I mean, like, he does not remember the last time the Giants were very good. So, yes, it's a lot of fun. Look, they lost to the Saints last week. No one else has done that. The schedule is hard. Like, there will be ups and downs. But you come out of last night saying, we've got these guys that are fun, that are good, that are not afraid of the Super Bowl champions, and you can look ahead to the rest of this season and feel like you have something fun to root for, and you can look ahead to future seasons and feel like you have something to build on.
Sometimes when you're young in the NFL, you're just young and dumb. So you don't know what you don't know. And when you watch Scatterboo and you watch Jackson Dart play, they're running into guys. They're not low. They're not getting out of bounds, any of those things. And talking to Brian Dable last week, we had a production meeting. All he continued to say was, I love these young guys. Said it 5 times with the biggest smile on his face. And last night, we got a chance to see exactly why. Jackson Dart is not going to be pretty. He had fumbles, interceptions a week ago. But then last night, he comes out. He plays poised. The moment isn't too big. He's a leader. When I was at the game last night, there's belief in the stadium for the first time in a long time. When Jackson Dart went in the blue tent, it was just completely quiet. He walks out of the blue tent. Don't know whether he's back or not at this point. The entire stadium erupted because they know how special and how much he means to this organization right now of what he's been able to do in the last 3 weeks.
Harry, you've got tape of Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I'm blown away because he's so cool, calm, and collected. You talk about a guy being poised when he's in the pocket, no matter if it's defender players around him or not. And this first play is 3rd and 8.